Have you ever been sitting at your desk, or perhaps driving home, when a sudden, overwhelming wave of exhaustion hits you so hard it feels like someone literally pulled the plug on your entire system? Your eyes grow heavy, your brain becomes filled with a thick, impenetrable fog, and suddenly, the simplest tasks, answering an email, making a phone call, or even deciding what to eat, feel like climbing a massive mountain. You drink another coffee, you grab a sugary snack for a quick boost, but the energy never really comes back. You've been told it's just stress. You've been told you're just getting older. You've been told it's normal to feel this way in the modern world. But what if I told you that 90% of people experiencing sudden daytime fatigue are looking at the wrong symptoms entirely? What if the real reason you're exhausted has nothing to do with how much you slept last night, but with a silent biological glitch that no one, not even most general practitioners, is talking about? Today, we are peeling back the curtain. I am going to reveal the medical dark matter of fatigue, the hidden triggers that drain your cellular battery while you're wide awake. By the end of this deep dive, you won't just understand why you're tired, you'll have the exact physiological blueprint to switch your energy back on. We live in a culture that glorifies burnout. We wear our exhaustion like a badge of honor, as if being tired is proof of our productivity. But there is a massive clinical difference between physiological fatigue, which is the healthy, earned tiredness you feel after a long day of physical or mental work, and pathological crashing. If you feel fine at 10 in the morning, but feel like a functional zombie by 2 in the afternoon, that is not a sign of hard work. That is your body sending a high-priority distress signal. Most people ignore these signals until they turn into chronic illness. They assume it is just a lack of caffeine, but caffeine is essentially a high-interest loan from your future self. It masks the problem. It never solves it. To fix the crash, we have to look at the 3 hidden pillars that are likely sabotaging your biology at this very moment. The first pillar is the glucose roller coaster and the hidden insulin spike. This is the single most common reason for sudden daytime fatigue, and it is governed by something called reactive hypoglycemia. However, it does not work the way most people think. Most people assume low blood sugar only happens to diabetics or people who haven't eaten for days. That is a dangerous myth. When you eat a typical modern breakfast, perhaps a granola bar, a piece of fruit, a bagel, or even a sweetened latte, your blood sugar spikes rapidly. In response, your pancreas floods your system with insulin to bring that sugar down. However, for many of us, the pancreas overreacts. It pumps out too much insulin, causing your blood sugar to plummet significantly below your baseline levels just 2 to 3 hours later. This is the 2 p.m. crash. Your brain, which consumes 20% of your body's total energy, suddenly finds itself without its primary fuel source. The result is sudden, overwhelming sleepiness, irritability, and what we call brain fog. You aren't lazy. Your brain is literally starving for a moment. To stop this, you must stop the spike. The secret isn't eating more sugar for energy. It's front-loading your day with savory fats and high-quality proteins to keep the metabolic needle steady. The second pillar involves the mitochondria and the cell danger response. Inside every single cell in your body, you have tiny power plants called mitochondria. Their job is to take the food you eat and the oxygen you breathe and turn them into ATP, the universal currency of human energy. Recent breakthroughs in cellular biology have revealed that mitochondria aren't just passive energy producers. They are incredibly sensitive environmental sensors. If your mitochondria sense any form of danger, which can come in the form of low-grade inflammation, certain food additives, environmental toxins, or even excessive blue light overexposure, they shift into what is known as cell danger response mode. In this mode, the mitochondria stop producing energy and start using their resources for cellular defense. Imagine a factory that stops making products because it is trying to put out a fire. This is why you feel sudden, inexplicable fatigue. Your body has detected a perceived threat and has intentionally cut the power to your muscles and your prefrontal cortex to preserve resources for survival. No amount of sleep fixes a mitochondrial misfire. You have to signal safety to your cells through specific micronutrients and light hygiene. The third pillar is the circadian desync, and this is the one that truly no one tells you about. Your body operates on a biological clock that is millions of years old. This clock regulates every hormone in your body, specifically cortisol, the wake-up hormone, and melatonin, the sleep hormone. In the modern world, we have completely broken this clock. We spend our mornings in dim indoor lighting and our evenings under bright artificial LEDs. When you feel that sudden afternoon slump, it's often because your body is fundamentally confused. It is producing a microdose of melatonin in the middle of the day because it hasn't seen enough high-intensity natural sunlight to suppress it. Furthermore, we often experience postprandial somnolence, where the body diverts all its energy to digestion. If your circadian rhythm is weak, your body cannot handle the energy shift of digesting a meal, and it simply shuts down the higher-order thinking centers of your brain. Now, knowing the cause is only half the battle. To truly reclaim your life, you need a protocol. The first step is the 30-30-30 rule. To stabilize your blood sugar and prevent the insulin crash, you must consume 30 grams of protein within 30 minutes of waking up, followed by 30 minutes of low-intensity movement like a walk. This sets a metabolic floor for your entire day. It prevents the glucose roller coaster from ever gaining momentum. The second step is strategic hydration. Often, what we perceive as fatigue is actually a hidden electrolyte imbalance. When you drink plain filtered water all day, you might actually be diluting your sodium, potassium, and magnesium levels. When your salt levels drop, your blood volume decreases, and your heart has to work significantly harder to get oxygenated blood to your brain. If you feel a crash coming on, instead of reaching for another cup of coffee, try a large glass of water with a pinch of high-quality sea salt and a squeeze of fresh lemon. You will be shocked at how quickly the fog lifts when your neurons finally have the minerals they need to fire. Thirdly, you must anchor your circadian rhythm. Within 15 minutes of waking up, you need to get outside and look toward the sun, not directly at it, but in its general direction, for at least 10 minutes. This triggers a massive release of cortisol and sets a biological timer for melatonin production 16 hours later. If you feel the afternoon crash, do not stay inside under fluorescent lights. Get back outside for 5 minutes. Natural sunlight is orders of magnitude more effective for alertness than a double espresso because it targets the melanopsin receptors in your eyes that tell your brain exactly what time it is. Fourth, we must discuss the micronap. If you absolutely must rest, do not sleep for an hour. This will lead to sleep inertia, leaving you feeling worse than before. Instead, use the inverted nap technique. Drink a small cup of coffee or green tea, then immediately close your eyes for exactly 17 to 20 minutes. Caffeine takes about 20 minutes to travel through your digestive system and hit your bloodstream. By the time you wake up from a light stage 1 sleep, the caffeine is clicking into your adenosine receptors. You bypass the grogginess and wake up with a double hit of energy. However, I must provide a serious medical warning. While most daytime fatigue is a result of these lifestyle glitches, sometimes it is a shadow of something deeper. If your fatigue is accompanied by sudden weight changes, night sweats, or a racing heart even when you are sitting still, it is vital to see a professional to check your thyroid and your iron levels. Specifically, you must ask for a ferritin test, not just a standard iron test. Many doctors miss low iron stores because the standard hemoglobin tests come back within the normal range, while the actual storage of iron is depleted. You were not designed to live in a state of constant nagging exhaustion. Your body is a high-performance machine evolved over millennia to hunt, gather, create, and think. It requires the right software, the right timing, and the right fuel. The sudden fatigue you feel is not a character flaw. It is not a sign of laziness. It is not an inevitable part of aging. It is a sophisticated communication from your internal systems. It is your body asking you to change your environment, your light exposure, or your metabolic choices. Stop trying to push through the pain. Stop masking the symptoms with stimulants that only deepen the deficit. Start listening to the biology that no one else is talking about. about. When you finally align your daily habits with your cellular needs, energy is no longer something you have to hunt for or manufacture. It becomes the natural state of your existence. You have the tools, you have the hidden knowledge, and now you have the protocol. It is time to stop surviving the day and start living it. To understand why that cup of coffee at 3 p.m. might be failing you, we have to look at a molecule called adenosine. Think of adenosine as your body's internal sleep pressure gauge. From the moment you wake up, adenosine begins to build up in your brain. The longer you are awake, the more adenosine accumulates, eventually making you feel sleepy enough to go to bed at night. Caffeine works by acting as an adenosine antagonist. It doesn't actually give you energy. It simply blocks the receptors in your brain so you can't feel the sleep pressure. But here's the catch. While the caffeine is blocking the receptors, the adenosine is still being produced. It's like putting a piece of tape over a warning light in your car. When the caffeine eventually wears off, all that accumulated adenosine rushes into the receptors all at once. This is the caffeine crash. If you are feeling sudden fatigue, it is often because your morning caffeine has processed out of your system, and the massive backlog of adenosine is finally hitting your brain. To prevent this, doctors suggest delaying your first cup of coffee until 90 to 120 minutes after waking. This allows your body to naturally clear out the remaining adenosine from the night before, preventing the massive afternoon backlog. Another silent killer of energy is systemic inflammation. In the modern diet, we consume a high ratio of omega-6 fatty acids compared to omega-3s. This creates a pro-inflammatory environment. When your body is inflamed, your immune system is technically active even when you aren't sick. An active immune system is one of the most energy-intensive processes in the human body. If you are constantly fighting off inflammation caused by processed seed oils or hidden food sensitivities, you will feel a sudden drop in energy as your body diverts resources to manage that inflammation. This is often why people feel tired but wired. Your nervous system is stressed, but your energy levels are bottoming out. Switching to a diet rich in antioxidants and healthy fats isn't just about weight loss. It's about reclaiming the 30% of your energy currently being wasted on internal friction. We also cannot ignore the psychological aspect of fatigue. In the digital age, we suffer from cognitive overload. Every unanswered notification, every unfinished task, and every unresolved conflict represents an open loop in your brain. Your brain is constantly running background processes to remember these items. This is identical to having 20 apps open on your phone. It drains the battery even if you aren't actively using them. Sudden fatigue often occurs when the brain reaches its limit for processing these open loops. To combat this, a brain dump is necessary. Writing down every single thing on your mind for 5 minutes can physically lower your cortisol levels and stop the background energy drain. Lastly, consider your breathing. Most of us are chest breathers when we are stressed. This sends a signal to the brain that we are in a state of fight or flight. This state is metabolically expensive. If you spend your whole morning in shallow breathing, your body will eventually crash into a state of forced rest to recover from the perceived stress. By practicing diaphragmatic breathing for just 2 minutes every few hours, you keep your nervous system in a rest and digest or flow state, which preserves your energy for when you actually need it. The fatigue you feel is a complex tapestry of your light, your food, your breath, and your thoughts. When you address each one, even slightly, the cumulative effect is a radical transformation in how you feel. No more crashes, no more fog, just a steady, reliable stream of vitality from sunrise to sunset. This is what the multi-billion-dollar energy drink industry doesn't want you to know. They want you to believe energy comes from a can. It doesn't. Energy comes from the efficiency of your mitochondria and the stability of your blood sugar. You have been told a story that you are broken or that your fatigue is a mystery. It isn't a mystery, it's biology. And now that you know the rules of the game, you can finally win. Take back your focus, take back your afternoon, take back your life.